South Park actually managed to gaslight their entire fan base. How is that even possible? Well, I'll tell you. Just a warning though, it's almost unbelievable how they managed to do this. It all started with the release of one episode last February titled The Big Fix. The episode starts with Randy Marsh attending the Cannabis Cultivators Expo. He witnesses a panel where they discuss the fact that consumers are looking more toward marijuana grown by people of color than white people.
The bottom line is this: a completely white-owned weed business these days just isn't going to survive.
Because of this, they advise that white-owned weed businesses may fall victim to boycotts. Randy then comes home and points out that their family has no black friends, and asks Stan why he doesn't hang out with his black classmate Token more often. Stan then feels guilty and invites Token and his family over for dinner.
Shut up, Butters. Look, will you please just see if your family will come over for dinner?
Randy acts incredibly friendly, and later at dinner he asks why they named their son the way they did.
Favorite author, but she didn't want to name our son J.R.R., so we just named him Token.
After all, Token is a pretty strange name. The family realizes they made a big mistake when Steve Black replies that he's a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings series and named their son after his favorite author, J.R.R. Tolkien.
My husband has always been a huge fan of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Is your mind blown yet? Because it should be. If you're confused, allow me to explain. For the entirety of South Park's 26-season run, Stan has thought that Tolkien's name was Token. He then goes to school and asks his friends if they knew his name was Tolkien. And to make matters even more confusing, they all say they knew his name wasn't Token.
Isn't Token. It's Tolkien.
Yeah, I know it's Token.
No. He's named after the guy who wrote The Hobbit and stuff.
Yeah, I know. J.R.R. Tolkien.
But if you're a South Park fan, you would know that his name actually was Token. From the moment he was introduced as a character, his name was, in fact, Token. Actually, his name itself was a joke. His name, Token Black, was a play on words because he was the Token Black character in South Park. If you're unfamiliar, a Token Black character is a character that the writers add to the show for the sole purpose of creating diversity. So Token being named Token Black was the writers' hilarious way to make fun of that stereotype while playing into it at the same time, because Token actually was the only black character. But now, 25 years after they first made that joke, they are spinning it in a completely new direction. In The Big Fix, the show pretends that Tolkien was never named Token at all. It makes us viewers feel exactly the same as Stan. How could I make that mistake? But the joke doesn't end there. Oh no, there is so much more to cover with this one. What do you think happened when this episode aired and fans were faced with the fact that Tolkien's name had been misunderstood this whole time? Well, if I were them, I would check back on older episodes to compare. And that's exactly what fans of the show did. But when they checked back to Paramount Plus to view the older episodes featuring Tolkien, something had changed. The creators of South Park actually went back and changed every single subtitle that said the original character named Token and changed it to Tolkien. Isn't that just absolutely genius? Anyway, they completely trolled their audience with this, and many fans were confused to say the least. Some fans found it incredibly funny that they had flipped the script and changed Tolkien's name in all the subtitles, but some fans thought it was a genuine mistake. Could this practical joke possibly be too elaborate for everyone to understand? Let's take a look. Some fans only took the joke at face value, thinking that they were just updating a politically incorrect name for their character. And some saw the joke for what it really was. Changing the name suddenly from Token to Tolkien was a way of gaslighting the viewer in the funniest way. They realized that the actual joke in changing the name was making the viewer think they were the ones assuming the character had a racist name, therefore making them the quote-unquote racist ones. But a small portion of fans thought the entire time that Tolkien's name was genuinely Tolkien, and that people were just assuming his name to be Token. Confused yet? Yeah, me too. But since the subtitles were all updated to call this character Tolkien, fans quickly followed suit. You'll really have to scour the internet to find a place where Tolkien's name is still written as Token. Most websites and fan pages won't even mention that his name changed at all. It's crazy how well the creators behind this show pulled off this stunt. The fact that some fans were so fooled that they completely believed that his name had never changed is insane. Having a prank this big and actually pulling it off so well that fans fight over whether his name was ever Token is incredibly impressive. But there's still one thing I forgot to mention. Something that makes this epic prank even funnier. At one point in the episode, The Big Fix, Stan's pediatrician looks directly into the camera.
With our boys starting to become so close, we thought we better get the families together. If they're friends, then we need to be friends, huh? Do you mind if I post this? Check out our friends.
Demanding to know if anyone else really thought a couple of black people had a child and named him Token.
People have a problem with Token's name?
This line just makes the whole situation even more undeniably hilarious. Because by changing the character's name, they aren't just playing a clever joke. They're also giving a new meaning to a character that was initially pretty problematic. And with this The Office-like moment with the pediatrician looking right into the camera, the South Park creators poke fun at their past mistakes, while also slightly shifting the blame onto the audience for thinking his name was actually Token, even though it was. While this isn't the first time South Park's creators have poked fun at their past mistakes in a clever way, it is by far the most memorable. But one other time the show engaged fans might be just as interesting. It happened a few years ago, back in 2019 on an episode called Basic Cable. A commercial appears in the middle of the episode, which encourages streaming services to contact the show's co-creator, Trey Parker. Why? To purchase the rights to The Scott Malkinson Show and all the other fake shows that were featured on this season of the show. Fans were delighted to find that the phone number displayed on the screen was an actual working number. If you call the number, you'll be met with a recording of Parker offering up the rights to the different fake shows mentioned. Pretty cool, right? Well, yeah, for the fans, but there's one person who didn't feel as excited. You see, the number was only showing on the screen for a few seconds. So naturally, some of the fans mistyped the number, leading to one resident of Fairplay, Colorado receiving hundreds of calls from fans expecting the Easter egg. They were a good sport about it though. They eventually pieced together that the calls were because of the show and directed fans in the right direction via a Facebook post. If that was me and hundreds of people were calling me, I would not be a happy camper. Overall, it was a pretty funny bit. It's so nice to see showrunners happily engaging with their audience and sometimes even making the viewer part of the bit. In a time where every area of television is oversaturated thanks to streaming services, it really is great to see shows like South Park go the extra mile to engage their audience. What do you think? That was how South Park managed to gaslight their entire fan base.